Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. BTM here, bringing you another Age of Empires 3 match. Today's match is a 3v3 on Deccan. We got a British, an Ottoman, and a German on both teams. I'm actually the highest ranked player on this team, being a Master Sergeant. The other two people on my team are Sergeants. One of them is actually a fan of mine. And on the other team, there's one Master Sergeant and two Sergeants as well, and their Sergeant is actually the German player. So it's an exciting and fun kind of filled match. I played this at like 4 a.m. quite a while ago, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm not going to spoil the ending. Now, in case you're wondering why there's a delay in videos or a lack of production, so to speak, lately, just to remind you, I am on my summer kind of moving schedule right now. I'm moving out to another state, starting school, starting work, so I don't know how things are going to stand. So I'm making one video a week until I get things figured out. So that's kind of what's going on right now. So there will be at least one Age of Empires 3 match a week, and then about mid-September, when I'm settled in and I know how the routine's going to work, we're going to have more than that. So keep your eyes peeled for that, ladies and gentlemen. It will be great. We're working on that. Content still coming, just a little bit slower than it was this summer when I had more time. Now, let's get into the action. As you can see here, I'm trying to creep a treasure. I'm building my houses pretty quickly. I did set my waypoint, so my villagers are getting built. Now, because of the amount of wood I start with and the such, I am going to build, I think, 3 manor houses straight off the bat. Actually, I have 130 wood left over after I build my first 2 manor houses for 135 wood each. So I end up deciding to chop 5 wood after building that manor house and getting a 3rd manor house up quick. And as you can see, my creep failed there because as I was shooting the line, he ended up running outside of range. And then because he was outside of range, I couldn't keep shooting him. He ran back to the treasure, got full hit points. So it made my whole creep effort there more or less useless because then I just had to restart it. But at this point, remember, it was 4 a.m. when I was playing this. I wasn't really super focused on getting the creep perfect. So I was just like, well, screw it. I'm just going to melee him until he is taken out, vanquished, until I vanquish my foes. So that's what's going on there. As you can see, though, I get my other manor house built, my 3rd. Normally, British players don't build 3 manor houses in the game, especially in the first age, but I'm a pretty boomy player, so that's what I like to do. It also might give me a slight bit of a faster age up. I know that going with a market and hunting dogs as British generally is considered wiser and stronger, so I wouldn't actually recommend a 3rd manor house. I would actually probably recommend hunting dogs. Market and hunting dogs over a 3rd manor house personally, because then obviously you can use a market for other upgrades later, but not the end of the world. I just went for 3 manor houses here. This was actually fairly early in my beginning to play British. I didn't quite understand what was going on, but as you can see here, I'm going for more treasures, and I'm going to send my explorer to scout down the side, and I'm doing that for a few reasons. One, because I'm on the right hand side, I'm sure there's a better way to phrase that. Let me try again. Because I'm on the right hand side of the map, and the rightmost teammate on my team, I'm going to be kind of the one in charge of taking control of that side of the map, fighting over that trading post, and controlling the accesses to the plateau on that side. That's kind of going to be my main focus, being that player. So I do kind of send my explorer to scout out that area. 1, so I know what resources are there, because maybe I can send a villager over there and start manor booming. Or 2, just because I want to look for good treasures. The good treasures on Deccan are usually situated around the 2 edges, on the other side of the river and on the other side of the trading post, depending on however the map is orientated. So that's why I'm going over here. As you can see here, I managed to steal this treasure from blue, which is great. But as you can see, they've gone for 3 trading posts. We only have 1, so they've definitely gone with a booming kind of economic approach. Maybe even a TP boom. That's kind of interesting. You don't see that every day, but it's interesting. But let's break down some more team action here. As you can, or you may have noticed from the chat early in the game, I'm actually supposed to go musketeers. I ended up accidentally building a stable. I wasn't paying attention at all to the chat for most of the game, and a few times I'll be talking to chat and they'll ask me something, and then later I'll be like, wait, what? Are you talking to me? Totally goof up. So not the wisest move always by myself. You should really pay better attention when you're playing than I did at some points in this game. Doesn't mean this game's bad, just meant there was a few points where I could have cared less about the chat. Now, I do kind of build the 4 manor houses, and I set my villagers behind to gather, and I do actually end up gathering the 200 coin I've left by my town center. Remember, guys, it's a pro tip of the day. Don't gather your starting coin crates if you don't need them. Until you don't need them, you'll save, you know, maybe a few seconds, but the higher ranked you are, the more each second matters. Granted, I am kind of losing some time second-wise just from not micromanaging as well as possible. Here I put down my stable. Again, my team is expecting me to go to musketeers, and I'm actually going to get called out on, hey, you're building a stable, but I end up sending 700 gold instead of 700 wood. Then I fixed it. I sent 700 wood because I realized at this point, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be going to this barracks instead of a stable. So I'm like, oh well, nothing I can do about it now because, you know, I'm already committed, and my teammate calls me out at this point. Hey, I thought you were going to go musketeers, like I should have been. Definitely made a noob mistake there. BTM, not so pro. BTM, why you so noob? Either way, though, I'm going to build a stable right behind my, right in front. No, right next to it. I'm going to build my stable right next, or my barracks right next to my stable. As you can see, I have this weird little cluster of blocks or buildings, not the end of the world. And then I'm going to send actually my outpost up. I make a mistake there. If you see that I selected it to build in the spot I wanted before it was there. That's actually really bad. It could allow the enemy to destroy the place it's planted and then just wait there and kill the wagon. So that was a noob mistake on my part. I should have had it walk up there and then built it when I actually see that that area is safe. So not the smartest move on the planet, but I'm trying to... there's no real way to justify it. There's no tactical advantage the way I did it. That was just a mistake. But not the end of the world. It is a mirror, though. So remember, at this entire game... And this is kind of a funny thing. I think you guys can agree with this on me and mirrors. When you're playing like a complete mirrored civilization, to you it doesn't matter if you win or lose, as long as you outplay the same civ on the other team. Am I right? It's like you want to be able at the end of the game, even if you lose, to be like, well, I outplayed the other British player on their team with British, so it doesn't matter how I played, you know? I don't know. I definitely had that mentality in this game, though. I was like, it doesn't matter. I just have to outplay him. So I do send 5 settlers, though, as my 3rd shipment. Debatable. I really should have had a market up at this point, 5 minutes in the game on a 3v3. I mean, a market would have been OP, so BTM was pretty noob there. But I am going to build manor houses. I like building them as walls. I like building them as barriers. It can be very, very effective. I do have some musketeers about to pop, and then I'm going to have 1 more. I think I only make 3 in my first batch, though, and I only made 3 hussar. But as you can see, I am using those 3 hussars around the peripherals of their town. I'm looking for them. I'm going to keep making villagers. Hopefully, I'm pretty consistent with it. I think I was. I don't remember. But we'll see how that all goes about. Keep making villagers. I am waiting for the 5 villager shipment to pop. And I'm kind of surprised at this point that nobody's noticed me running in their town. I don't know. And my explorer is also in their town. So again, I'm just kind of like, wow, this is interesting. I'm kind of creeping around the back of their town. I'm looking for herds. I'm looking for things where I feel like, oh man, you know, I can find things to eat. So, like, you know, eat settlers, like, to kill them. But I'm not finding it just yet. I am making more villagers. And at this point in the game, though, I have 31 villagers really, really quick. 6 minutes in the game. Even though I don't have a lot of military, I have 31 villagers. So I'm pretty well off in terms of, I think, economic strength, but I'm kind of lagging behind in military strength, so I need to pick up my teammates. However, I might be able to save us here by getting some good rating on, because if I can get some rating on, their attention's distracted, then their main attack will be a little bit slower. Now, as you notice there, I build a market forward, and the reason why markets are arguably the best building to build forward, there's a few reasons. One, they're so big. You know, markets aren't the size of houses. They're a big block unit. They're about the same size as a town center, I believe. So they're a big unit that can definitely block the area. And 2, hit point per wood cost, they're fantastic. They have 2,000 hit points, but they only cost 100 wood. Like, you can't really beat that value. I feel like I'm trying to sell a used car. Guys, please buy the market. You cannot beat its value. It is simply phenomenal. But seriously, in terms of using it as a scouting building, a forward building, it's about as good as you can get. It's better than manor houses. It's better than a lot of buildings. But either way, as you can see here, I'm going to buy my first age market upgrades. I'm going to buy hunting dogs and placer mines to support my musketeer spam. I'm going to keep trying to keep some pressure on them. Remember, it doesn't really matter if I kill a million of their settlers. It only matters if I keep them distracted and keep the advantage on us. Now, I made a noob mistake. Again, this is why you don't play this game at 4 a.m. in the morning. I didn't build a second barracks. I could have had that second barracks up. As you can see, I have almost 400 wood sitting there. And here I make a really bad mistake. I go for those settlers when I could have gone for the settlers on the mine right there and cut them off and definitely killed a few more. But not the end of the world. New play, but I still do my job of kind of blocking them. Meanwhile, I'm going to put more houses. And I'm playing so boomy at this point. Arguably not very smart. But if we win, it'll pay off. So who knows, right? Now, here's a thing. They're going to push way hard. And because I've been playing so boomy, we're a little bit weaker at in this skirmish than we could be. And unfortunately, because I didn't have a second barracks up and I wasn't really massing out units as well as I could have, I didn't do as well for my teammates here as I could have. Now, I am going to try to, like, kind of protect my teammate and, you know, get my musketeers in front to act as a meat shield, but they totally have the numbers advantage on us, so I definitely screwed up. So I am going to end up pulling my 3 hussar back with the hopes that those vain 3 hussar will make a difference, but it's very clear at this point we lost this fight, so we got to try to keep as many as Green's Abbas alive. They're so expensive. If you lose your musketeer, your Ottoman player's Abbas mask, you're in big, big doo-doo. On the bright side, and the one bright side to this is I do have enough resources to more or less keep up a pretty steady spam. And I do have some cav popping, and I have 3 cav flanking. So it is possible that I can kill their Abbas. He can micro out his Abbas and kill those musks, and we can possibly survive this. Also, I have more musketeer popping. But again, even if we win this fight, we took way more losses than we should have if I had done a better job early game micromanaging my economy there. But as you can see, we do kind of push them back, and I don't know if we really consider this as a win or not. Yeah, they got more reinforcements, I feel, coming in relative to what we do. But I do distract them with my cavalry, with my hussar, and I distract them off of Green's Abyss, which is the key to all of this. Now, the thing I do finally here, by the way, thank goodness, I didn't remember I did this, I do finally build a second barracks. I should have had them up earlier, and I say, good job, man, you know, my 4 AM morale boosters, way to go, good hustle out there, kid, you too, you know. Not really a good job. We're in a harder position than we probably should have been, but it's okay because it's a fun game, and as long as everybody's having fun and being nice to each other, that's really what matters in this game. So not the end of the world. I am going to get more musketeers out. I am going to send 2 shipments. I'm going to send 2 towers. Fabulous shipment. I'm going to actually send that to my 4th tower, I believe. That way I can have 3 towers. And let me tell you, people say, oh, don't put the 2 tower shipment in your deck. Anybody who says that, I get the reasons why. You can send 600 wood, 2 towers is only worth 500. But the advantage of just throwing up 2 towers without wasting any settler build time is just simply so fabulous. Like, you get the defensive fire, you get the area of retreat, you get the line of sight. If you put them all within firing range of each other, it's very, very hard to push against 2 or 3 towers in a cluster. I have it in every single deck I play as that can build towers. But I love the 2 tower shipment. I'm going to send it to the plateau, and my goal with that really is going to be to create an impenetrable fallback so that even if we lose our push, we can kind of go back to our 3 tower area, and they might push in, but they're going to take heavy losses, or they'll pull out without wanting to push forward. Now at this point, I realize that we're kind of in trouble, but it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm not going to lose hope. Now, I do something here a little bit interesting, but I do make a little bit of a different choice here. I did just tell you how great it is to put all the tires in firing range, but I end up actually putting these towers a little bit more forward than I probably would have liked. But I did that because I want those herds. I want those 2 main herds right there in the middle of the plateau. I feel like if I can get some manor houses and some settlers there, we're going to be in a very, very strong position. So my goal at this point is to get my musketeers back, to protect the towers and get them built up. Twin towers built up. That's like that's a Lord of the Rings story, I believe. So I don't know, but I'm also now going to build a 3rd barracks, but I'm going to build it on the side of the map. Remember, map control wins games. The amount of resources you get wins games. So if we can control more of the resources and have a better, like, just kind of economic base, I'd say we're in great shape. However, with that being said, I also realized in my 4 AM sleep-deprived state at this point, I thought, you know what, wait a minute. I need to protect my side of the town. I don't want to let him just walk in and raid. That's something I would do, so I can't let him do it. So I end up starting to build a wall around my town. I'm actually going to end up completely like sealing off my area. That's a really, really wise choice. Kind of prevents me from being pushable. And at this point, with 2 musketeers going up and 47 villagers, I have a really good amount of economy. I am also going to take that 3rd trade post from the other team to kind of even it out a little bit more. So I felt at this point very strong. A little bit low on gold, but I did send a gold mine gathering boost card thingy from my home city, and I am gonna buy, look at that, more market upgrades, because market upgrades, as I've been told so many times, are overpowered. But obviously the game is not over yet. We're not even halfway yet. We're at 13 minutes out of 34, so clearly it's not like my market upgrade buying just won the game instantly. So there's a lot more to happen. But either way, as you can see here, I'm going to keep working on building the wall. I hadn't scouted out that area because I had my explorer go elsewhere to more important things. But I am going to finally end up sealing off my side of town. The thing is, there's nothing better, or there's really nothing better than being able to walk in and just kill villagers for free. There's nothing better in this game. You need to make units to fight, and you need to make settlers to make units. If you can block them from doing that, what are they going to do to you? And if they can't get off free kills, it's a waste of their time trying to do it. Now, as you can see here, Orange gets a pretty good kill thing going, but then Yellow's cavalry comes down to swarm him. But that's not the end of the world, because that means Yellow's army is down there and not up here. So it could be actually a lot worse for us. So we do end up pushing forward. Now, I do my very nasty habit. I do tend to look away from fights here. As you can see, I'm looking at my home city. I'm working on my wall building. I'm making more settlers, which is something you should always do. But I'm not looking at the fight. I kind of just assumed that the soldiers would be fine auto-tasking. But I would have had a better KD, especially in this fight, if I'd been paying more attention. Did I say orange? Yeah, I don't know what I meant to say then earlier when yellow and orange were fighting. I think I meant to say that Ulan mass surrounded Orange's. But as you can see, Orange is going to ignore this fight very wisely. No, maybe not. But he's going to end up running forward and kind of picking off the skirms in the back, and meanwhile I'm going to use my musketeers kind of as a meat shield. Green played like a trooper for a sergeant, and you know, I'm not one of the people who likes to bash on lower ranks, but you know, there is obviously a playing ability difference, although I'm not playing amazingly this game myself. But he did a great job keeping an eye on Abyss and keeping them alive. But at this point I decided we're not going to win. Get your Abyss back to the towers. I'll meet up with 10 musketeers I just had pop from my home city, and hopefully we'll be able to save most, if not all of them. And that's kind of what we end up doing. But the two towers do come in providing a little bit of a defensive front. Not as much as it could have been, obviously, if it was next to the other one I already had, but not as bad as it is. As you can see, though, I'm also now making musketeers for my third barracks on the right side of the map, and I've walled off myself, so I'm immune from raiding. I'm also going to wall off my side of the plateau, and the reason why I do that is because people do often, they'll just run past your army with some hussar or some light cavalry, and they'll run into your town. I like to have that wall there. It also provides a good fallback. But as you can see here, fight not favoring us. They are killing us. So I say sorry because I wasn't paying attention. I let my units walk into the fight. So they like thought, oh, this guy's in charge of our team. He's a master sergeant. Let's go follow him. Even though I was just sleep deprived and wasn't paying attention to what my units were doing. And I ended up losing all my musketeers there like a total noob. I don't even know why you guys watch me sometimes. Meanwhile, Blue on the other team, who I believe is their highest ranked player, just like I'm the highest ranked player on my team, has aged up to the Fortress Age, has 2 Falconets on the field, just cleaning the floor with us, obviously, because we're all in Colonial Age, using Colonial Age units, so that's not good, but he's cleaning the floor with us, doing that sort of thing, so it's like, well, this is awkward. I'm going to lose 1 tower down, and now they're going to come for the other tower, but fortunately, Green, what a trooper. I was praising him for his micromanagement of his Abyss guns earlier, and he did a great job here. He sent 2 towers himself and threw them up right between my other 2 towers, creating a 4-tower front, which we just end up running behind. It ends up being a very strong position. It's hard to push on towers, you know. It simply is just not easy. Unfortunately, at this point in the game, though, I am starting to have to switch to mills, even though I have 28 on food. But as you can see here, my raid into purple was not like unknown. I thought he would be flamboozled or flummoxed or surprised or something by it, but he clearly was not. But as you can see here, they make a little bit of a mistake. The cannon get out of position, and 1 cannon down to me. And the thing, you might be like, oh, you're not micromanaging the cannon or the hussar, but the thing is, hand infantry units are generally way better not micromanaged. Just let them do their thing. Generally, they'll do a better job than if you try to control them. But at this point, we only kill 1 cannon. There's still 5 or 6 on the field, and Blue's going to make us suffer. But Orange has gotten up to the Fortress Age, so way to go. He's playing German, I believe, so he's playing pretty strong. He sent some Ulan upgrades. Ulan? I'm going to say Ulan from now on. It sounds like a better way to say it. He's going to send some Ulan upgrades, and it's going to be great. And you might be wondering why I'm sending cavalry upgrades, even though I'm making only musketeers. It's because I picked my cavalry deck, because I was thinking I was going to make cavalry, even though I told my teammates I wasn't. But at this point, we do lose our second, our third, and our 4th tower. We're down to 1 tower. At one point we had 5. We're being pushed back in a pretty nasty way. Fortunately, they don't seem to be having that much more of a mass by the cannons. It seems like their mass is a little bit less than they would like, and even though yellow is doing a pretty decent job protecting them, all they have is the Abyss and cannons, so there's a good chance I think that we'll be able to kind of kill them a bit. So we get, let's see, 1 more cannon down here, 1 more cannon down, and every cannon kill counts here. Do we get a 2nd and a 3rd down? I'm not sure, but at this point I am just spamming out hussars in batches of 5, which is fantastic, making more manor houses, working on my economy however I can. However, we're behind the ball in this game because I've played poorly to begin with. I should have been doing better. I haven't really been carrying my team in a good way. Fortunately, though, Orange is a trooper. He's got 5-10 more Ulan on the field, and they have their cannons kind of vulnerable, so we're going to make another cavalry run on the cannons, and it looks like we're actually going to end up being able to kill the cannons and start mopping up those Abyss guns, which is simply just fabulous. Like, how we won that, I don't know, but here's a lesson for you guys. Never split up your army in a team game. It sounds like a great idea. Alright guys, I'm going to attack here, you attack there, meet up in the middle, you know, you put your hands in the middle. Alright guys, team on 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you all break up and you go attack different places. Oh, I tied some resources to my teammate here, by the way, because he was having some trouble. But never split up your army, because if you have your army as one, you're going to kill the other independent armies one at a time with minimal losses, and your horde's just going to simply steamroll. It's going to be fabulous. So never, never, ever, 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 ever split up your army in a 3v3. Keep it together, unless you guys are all like massively absurd pro players to the point where you can say, all right, we're each going to rush one person separately, and each one's actually a danger of taking out the other people. At that point, I would say, okay, go for it. But outside of that, I wouldn't say go for it. But at this point, we managed to survive that massive attack. Blue's score is really low because obviously he made all those cannon that kind of ended up dying to our double cavalry mass. And it turns out me going with Hussar ended up being brilliant and really helpful. I of course knew that all along, so that was why I was going with Hussar. Meanwhile, I'm creeping further on the plateau, and I was like shocked at this point. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm over here on the plateau. I can be wherever I want. I am still making some musketeers out of my town center, and I'm gonna age to the 3rd age. BTM is no noob. He is aging to the 3rd age and making units. So I kind of played badly, but I did kind of save my team, and I end up even rebuilding my market. For a guy who does not like markets, building 2 in a game is a pretty special and tender moment for me. So as you can see there, though, I'm kind of surprised. I'm like, wait, there's all these herds there. I was stunned. I'm like, wait a minute. There's like all those massive herds just sitting there. So I'm gonna get another stable built. I'm gonna get more cavalry rolling. I'm gonna put on the pressure, because if they got that one angle defended and we got our base on the other side, then let's ignore the kind of the Cold War. Nobody can push here or there, and then let's go somewhere else. Let's see if we can, raise some hell, you know what I mean? We don't need to follow by the rules, like, you know what I mean? There's rules in this game. Be nice to the people you play with, this, that, and the other. Those are rules you should follow. Attacking head-on in the same exact way with futile results, that's not a rule you should follow in this game. You should mix it up. You should do what you need to win. You should, there's a wrestler I really like, and he has a quote where he said, "Just when people think they figured out the answers, I change the questions." Do that in this game. Mix it up. So as you can see here, I'm just going to ignore defending our main base. I'm going to end up running into their town with my massive Hussar, and maybe they'll realize that they're unguarded, maybe not, but it's not going to phase me. Yellow, of course, is fighting on the far right side of the map, trying to remove my supremacy of it, but I've already eaten all the herds and at least some of the mines, so it wasn't that big of a deal. My hope, of course, at this point is that I can get some good rating, and look at all those settler wagons and villagers I'm going to be able to kill. It was just brilliant. So finally Yellow had realized, oh yeah, I need to go eat more on the map elsewhere, and fortunately I'm going to beat him to it. Now you may be like, wait a minute, you're not micromanaging it, but the thing is, the Hussar will automatically pathfind the best they can to it. Generally, and I say this cautiously, generally it's better to let them go do their own thing. Not always, but generally. In this case, I probably should have run in front of them and then done it that way so they had to walk around me to kill. So that was a little bit of a noob mistake. But I didn't want to accidentally screw up and let more get away. However, I think in that particular isolated instance, it would have been a better choice. It would have been a much better choice to kind of control them, get them in front of the villagers, and kill them. So again, playing like a noob because it's early in the morning. But meanwhile, I am kind of sending musketeers out to deal with the Ulan on the side of the map, and I am making more men. Trying to back up my team wherever I can. I end up not making men out of one barracks because I do want to get the veteran musketeer upgrade, and I thought, you know what, I could run in there and attack. Then I thought, I could just go into their town. So I decided to go in their town. I mean, it was that Sun Tzu quote from The Art of War a little while back we had that said, if the enemy leaves the door open, rush in, right? Well, they left the door open. It was not a trap, assumingly, because they were sending a massive settler wagon, so clearly they just had not thought to barricade that area. So I'm just going to go into Yellowstown, and I'm going to start killing settler wagons. As you know, for Germany, every settler wagon you lose is precious. But as you can see here, he's got, what, 10 Ulan or whatever, and he's trying to get in my base, but he's got to siege the wall. It's not going to work. And here, we end up killing, more villagers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that. Dead, dead, dead. Yum, 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 yum. Meanwhile, he's sitting at my wall trying to siege it, and he'll get in. But he'll get in. I'll pop my villagers in the town center. He might be able to kill it. He might not. I'll have men there, or somebody will have men there. I'm not even stressed about having men there, to be quite frank. It looks like I'm going to have men there, so not even a big deal. Not to mention, I'm going to send 8 more villagers, and Orange needs coins, So BTM, 500 more coin to my teammate, because, you know, it's a team game. Who cares if he needs coin? Who cares if I was playing better? Who cares if I was playing better than the other British player on the team, which of course was my only goal this game. I didn't care about winning or losing. I just wanted to outplay my counterpart. Selfish, I know, but you know what? You got to do it. Now, as you can see here, I end up surrounding them and eating out more villagers. Probably not the most appropriate way to phrase that at all, but I do end up killing more villagers, and then I end up running back, and I like to skirt the peripherals. But as you can see here, his yellow's Ulan end up going somewhere and doing something else, so I end up just redistributing my villagers to mills, making sure my food production comes. 8 more settlers and more upgrades coming, and I'm just looking to kill things and make more units, and it's really, really solid at this point. Not to mention just a lot of men everywhere doing things, and I'm going to even get another town center up at this point. I've been operating off of 1, but I have 69 villagers off of 1 town center in my manor boom and being fairly consistent, so not the end of the world. Let me actually take a quick look at score. I need to lean in to see it, so I'm going to stop talking for a second. Oh yeah, I'm killing in score. I'm like head and shoulders above everybody in score. But as you can see, my rating has not gone unnoticed. They're starting to notice me, but I'm going to kill a villager, maybe 2. Do I kill 2? I do kill 2, and then I run off. And I'm keeping them off of mills, and I'm keeping them distracted. That's the other thing. There's a small value in raiding, if only in that you force the enemy to be thinking about that instead of about other things like planning to attack you at your weak spots or through the hole in the wall I made. However, I decide, you know what? As much as I like that hole in the wall, I'm going to repair it. Holes in the walls are so 2012. This is 2013. Whatever. Now, as you can see here, he's got some cavalry archers matching up with musketeers. Don't dig that. I don't think that's wise. But meanwhile, Green is playing like a trooper. Look at him. He's in the fortress age. He's got cannons. He's taking some smart pushing actions. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep raiding on the backside of the map. I'm going to flirt. I'm not going to flirt. I'm going to mess with them in the rear and attack him in the front. And I'm not even going to say anything to that. I feel like that could be misconstrued. But either way, we're fighting here, and I'm like, back. I don't want to fight in their tower with crowded terrain. I think, you know what? I don't know actually if I think that at this point, so I'm not going to spoil it because I do know what happens next. But as you can see, I'm starting to run out of mills, so I'm actually going to sooner or coin, so I am going to have to sooner or later probably switch to longbowmen. But as you can see here, I'm getting caught up in purple's web of houses, but I still end up killing more villagers. So raiding has simply been phenomenal this game. Been absolutely killing on the raiding. I'm going to go mine, and I see some dead villagers there, so I'm like, you know what? Not a problem. I'm going to just run around the map, go there, or I see some dead animals, so I'm like, I'm going to run around the map, go there, kill them, and eat those villagers. Now, at this point, though, I remember, wait a minute, his town was unguarded, so I'm actually going to end up walking my musketeers all the way over, because they're going to assume that I'm sitting in my base, right? Because that's the only logical assumption they can assume. They can't assume that I'm going to go do something crazy. They're going to assume that I keep going and sitting in my base. So while they assume I'm sitting in my base, I'm going to march my musketeers over and around it. I'm going to see if I can march my musketeers into his base. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep making more musketeers in the main base. So that's the only logical and smart thing to do. But because they still haven't walled off their side of the map, I'm just going to march my musketeers down into Yellow's base. I really, you know, the game's going on, and it's really kind of a stalemate. We could try to push through their like main wall, but the problem is pushing through a main area like that will have so much many casualties for us that we will likely lose the war. So I'm like, I'm going to push in. Now, meanwhile, Orange is getting a really, really big raid here. I'm attacking and getting control of their town center, which is, or their town center on the right side of the map, keeping the pressure up there. I'm going to soon even look to Age, which might not have been the smartest choice considering I was out of mines at this point, but I'm going to look to Age, and at this point now I'm in his town with a bajillion settlers, and it's simply just great. I'm going to go straight for that town center. He's running his villagers to the town center, which I think when the enemy has enough military units to take down the town center, I don't think you should run to your town center. You should run to your neighbor's town. You should run somewhere else. You should build a wall behind you. There's other things you should do, I think, rather than run straight to a town center because it's not going to protect you. Meanwhile, keep making musketeers. I have a huge surplus of resources, so I should be doing better, and I could I do, yes, I do. I do end up walling them off from accessing the plateau. And here at this point, Yellow, because he hit all his soldiers in the town center, they're all going to get just slaughtered by my musketeers when they try to escape. Meanwhile, I'm going to be like pushing the middle. I'm going to flare it. I'm going to like push middle because where's our army? Their army's in Yellow Town. So now the situation where we couldn't get through because of the buildings and the units, well, there's now no units there because they're on the town. And now Yellow's economy is dead because all his things are dead. And now the rest of our armies are pushing elsewhere. And it's a really, really bad day to be them. Not to mention they can't even access the plateau from that area anymore. And soon we're going to take control of the center. Not to mention that somebody incredibly handsome, whose name rhymes with Big Thunder Dan, probably somebody, yeah, somebody random took control of the right side of the map and got a lot of pressure on them there. Even though I didn't completely expel them, they definitely aren't like safe there anymore, and they know it. They're kind of in trouble. Yellow at this point says, GG, I'm out, screw it. He doesn't actually say GG in chat, which would have been polite, and I tell my teammates, good job, and we end up winning. Did not see that one coming while playing it. I was shocked because obviously it seemed like we were kind of stuck and I was playing like bad, and I was like, oh man, I gotta kind of pick my game up, and we ended up winning, and it was a team effort. It wasn't all about me. Green did a fabulous job keeping his Abyss guns alive while I microed badly. He aged to the third age. He got cannon. He was smart. Orange was just raiding like a boss. You rarely see sergeants play that well, in my opinion. Orange was simply doing a great job getting the raiding on everywhere. Great job by him. And I, of course, had the most resources, the most military units, the most kills, the most loss, and the highest score. So I did my part. Everybody did a part. Everybody was nice to each other. And it was honestly, this is the reason why I love this game sometimes. You play with awesomely nice people, and then you win in an awesomely awesome way. So all around, it was a real good game. I was really proud of my most resources too, because I beat the other British player. Not that that's all that matters, but yeah, to me that was all that mattered. And I had most resources by a mile. I shouldn't be so cocky, to be honest, because compared to a lot of people, I'm not that great of a player. So I guess it's all the spectrum, right? I'm probably more in the middle of the good player spectrum rather than on the far end. So it's not really cool for me to be like, oh man, but I felt really good after that game because I really thought we were going to lose it. And I ended up thinking, well, we'll stick around and play it because I messed up my start and this and bad micromanagement. And we ended up pulling through. And that was partially, of course, because, or mostly because of our great teammates carrying us all the way, which was just simply fabulous. So I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Before I leave today, I do have a little bit of chat in the chat with some of the people I was playing with. I just want to remind you again one last time, I am uploading one video on Saturdays till about mid-September when I get settled in, get work figured out, school figured out, everything kind of settled. I really can't handle making more videos initially, but once I got everything figured out, we will kind of resume a little bit more of a busier upload schedule than once, a week. That's not a heavy schedule. We'll also be looking at starting some new series. I have a few passion projects I'm working on. I also have a co-op series that working on that's simply looking really good. Not to mention also have a vlog idea that's also potentially coming soon. So both of those are looking great and like they'll happen soon. Here, by the way, I'm looking at the resource count. I had most military units and I actually almost hit 200 population in the game. So I had to push really when I pushed into their town with my musketeers. I really couldn't afford just to leave them back sitting anymore. So that's why I kind of pushed forward, even if that was not necessarily the best push, but it ended up with us winning the game. So that was why I did that. But all that to say, more stuff coming soon. So thank you for watching. We'll have one video a week for a few weeks and then we'll be back in the screen things. But before I leave, I believe you guys are owed a quote of the day, so let me give you a quote of the day from President Ulysses S. Grant. Also, he was a 5-star general and led the North of the United States, the northern half, in the Civil War. The North won. Now we're all the United States instead of the Confederate States again. But he had this quote which said, "The art of war is simple enough. Find out where your enemy is, get to him as soon as you can, strike him as hard as you can, and keep moving on." Ladies and gentlemen, my name is B to the T to the M, and I would like to thank you so much for watching. And until next time, good luck and happy hunting. BTM out.